Welcome back. Double ad on my YouTube and WNSTV channel and our Facebook Live. Because over the weekend, and I knew last week, I said to Luke on the bus on the way out, I'm going to see some people that I haven't seen. And I'm going to be a little misplaced, displaced. There's going to be somebody from Ravens past that I'm not in touch with, that I forgot about. And lo and behold, we got our bus trip headed out. And Luke had the old Super Bowl 2001 run on 4 DVDs. Saved my butt because I forgot the DVDs. And I said, man, let's watch that Nashville game. And we put it in, and the damn thing was on random. So we couldn't get it to start on time, so it started in the second quarter. And lo and behold, there's a block of a kick, and I look on the bench, and there's big Keith Washington. I said to Luke, I'm like, man, I wonder what happened to Keith. I haven't seen Keith in 20 years, And I went into the Hall of Fame on Friday morning. I'm standing there with my son. I turn to my right, and I yell, Big Keith. And Keith Washington looks at me, and Keith, you thought I was who?
I thought you was Harbaugh. I thought you were John Harbaugh.
I was wearing my purple sideline shirt. Keith, I'm not going to lie to you. This is swear. And if my wife weren't working right now, she'd run in here and she'd confirm this, okay? We were in the Breezewood, Pennsylvania rest stop on the way back Sunday night. And this big guy comes up to me with a Steeler tattoo on his right arm. And he said, you're Coach Harbaugh. And my wife said, John, take a picture with him. I swear to God that happened on Sunday night. So you were not the only one.
I told you. You thought I was crazy. I told you when I first looked over there, your silhouette and the way you had that hat on your head, you looked just like John Harbaugh on the sideline.
Well, I'm going to go on Halloween this year. I'm going as John Harbaugh. I've made up my mind. I think that's what I'm. How the heck are you doing, man? And how did I get you off of a lake fishing to come on the radio show?
but I will say, the more I looked at you and the more you came into focus, I was way off on that John Harbaugh.
The more I look like Tom Cruise, right? Is what you're thinking, right?
Yeah, but no, man. Actually, I'm going fishing after this.
Okay, well, fair enough. I at least I did not detain you from what you love to do. Man, you are in retirement. You are one of these great case studies for me of a guy that I haven't seen forever. Man, I didn't realize you played 10 years in a league. I mean, I'd have to go back, and I sort of kind of remember you vaguely as a Giant and a Bronco at the end. And, you're living a good life, and here you get this call to come up with Ray Lewis, and you run into not only me. I mean, dude, there must have been 30 guys you ran into. I know, same for me. I mean, I ran into Shaka, right? I mean, I ran into people I haven't seen in 15 years, and it was just such a wonderful weekend, and it's so good to reacquaint, and I wanted to just invite you on to tell some stories, but you must have just some stories from over the weekend that jogged your memory, right?
I did. I had a wonderful time. It was an honor for me when I got the call from Ray's assistant and saying that Ray wanted me in attendance there. I've been gone from Baltimore for a long time, so it was an honor for me. And then to get out there, it kind of threw me off though, because there wasn't a set itinerary. We were kind of all on our own, so I was basically out there on my own in a way until I went to Ray's party and then the induction.
So you were just a big fan. I mean, when I ran into you, you were just,
yes.
Dude, wait, let me tell a story. When I saw you, I looked up, there's this 6'7" gigantic man taking a selfie of himself against the Sunday Night Football drop of Collinsworth and Tafoya and Al Michaels, and I looked up. You were literally taking selfies. You had as much fun in the Hall of Fame as anyone. You know why? You love football, right? I mean,
you're right, Ness. and when I got home, you're right about that, Ness. When I got home, I was telling my son, I told some of my buddies, Ness, that was my first time going there. I was literally blown away. I was literally blown away by the history of the game, just by looking at the greats. You hear about it, and you play with. So I play with Ray and Shannon and some of those guys who are gold jacket guys. But to actually go there and to see that, like it gave me goosebumps because it's so much about the game that I played 10 years and I've always been a fan of the game since childhood. But there was so much in there to take in. There was no way you could take it all in over this weekend. I mean, it actually blew me away, and I look forward to going next year. I may not go into the ceremony, but I'm going next year. I stayed at the La Quinta Inn. I met some great fans who have been going to the La Quinta Inn bench. There's a bench outside the La Quinta. It's real talk. There's a bench outside the La Quinta Inn, and there are some fans. They're just fans. They're from. It doesn't even matter, but they party on this bench outside of the La Quinta Inn every year. And for the first time, I partied with them Sunday night, and I didn't party with them the night before. I seen them out there, but I was kind of busy going to Ray's thing, so I didn't get to party with them. But when I partied with them that last night, I felt so bad because I had been seeing them out there, and we had such a great time. I mean, I was the only player, so it was nothing about and I told them stories after stories. I was showing kids how to do pass rush moves. I mean, so you can imagine the type of night we had. But I really had a great time.
Tell me about Ray Lewis. I mean, Ray called you and invited you. He didn't invite me, but he invited you, and he invited a lot of teammates. And boy, I saw people that I hadn't seen in forever, like yourself, who caught up, and it really does extend out. What do you say? The ray of light, right? Like all of us were there because of him. Anyone that's ever been involved with the Ravens, for better or worse, good or bad, it all goes through Ray Lewis. And to honor him for the weekend and to see him in that light and to see the gold bus. By the way, I don't think the bus looks like him. I think that. You're my Facebook friend. I'm a little concerned they should fix that up a little bit so it looks like a little less like Billy D. Williams and more like him. But you got memories of Ray, and he thought enough to invite you. He must think a lot of you, man.
He does, and I think a lot of him. When I was here, a lot of people don't know. I probably wasn't as much of a household name outside of the locker room as inside of the locker room. Like Ray, Goose, Rob Burnett. Those guys loved me. I loved them. They understood the work that I put in, and so Ray appreciated. Ray appreciated the things that I did, that I brought to the table, and I learned a lot from him. I'll tell you this one time. I remember this. I forget who we were playing this, and the guy, I come off the tackle, right? I shuck the tackle, and I stand the running back up, and we go into the ground. But before we go to the ground, somebody just plows into the back of my arm, dude, and my arm just goes numb. So when I get up, I'm like, man, and I see 52 on the ground. So I'm like, damn, Ray, watch what you're doing, watch what you're hitting. And you know what he said, Ness?
What'd he say?
Get him on the damn ground, then. Ness, but that was Ray all day. On that Baltimore team, you were lucky. You were lucky to make a play, and I know people think that's just a cliche, but you were literally lucky to make a simple tackle on that 2000 defense because everybody was hell-bent for election to get there to make a play. We were the ultimate team. I tell everybody, it ain't the scheme, it's the team. And that's the reason we won. I don't care what scheme you would have put us in. We would have won because it wasn't about the team. It wasn't about the scheme. It was the team.
Well, it's amazing in saying that because I had Goose on before the induction and talking to him about it, and it just rolls off his tongue. He said, I was a member of the greatest defense that ever played. And he said,
That's right.
and I believe that, and nobody would argue that, no Steeler from the 70s or whatever. That 2000 Ravens defense, pound for pound, player for player, Hall of Fame for Hall of Famer, and Hall of Very Good in the case of a lot of these guys, that you would proudly say that as well, right?
I would say that in a heartbeat. Now, a guy just asked me the other day, compared us to the 85 Bears. And like I told him, now if you take the front seven for the 85 Bears, you got Hall of Famers stacked in there. You take the front seven for the Baltimore Ravens, and there's not many Hall of Famers stacked in there. But you take the back end for the Baltimore Ravens, and we looking pretty good on that back end. So when you compare the two teams, yeah, there was different eras, but in the totality of it, we were a total team. We were a dominant team. We were a dominant defense. We knew the task at hand. We knew that our offense wasn't, it was going to do what it does, but it wasn't going to be much. So we knew this going in, and we were determined to shut you down. That's the way we approached it. Ray was our leader. Ray is an incredible leader. Even sitting here now talking to you about Ray's leadership, it gives me goosebumps. People don't understand how Ray Lewis and Michael Strahan are two of the biggest Ray Lewis, Michael Strahan, and John Roundel. They're the three biggest superstars that I've ever had the privilege of playing with that worked just as hard in practice as they did in the game. See, they didn't have to do that in practice because they're mainstays. They're there. Whether Ray practiced hard or not, he's going to be there. Now, Keith Washington, he got to practice hard every day.
Right.
But Ray didn't have to do that, but he did it. Strahan, those guys, they didn't have to do that, but I sat there and they did it. And that's why Ray was such a great leader, not simply because of the words he said. People always want to jump on his words, and they think that's not the Ray that I came to know. The Ray that I came to know, yeah, his words ring loud, but his actions, as far as his work ethic, as far as his desire, his determination, his attitude, that was absolutely impeccable. And he absolutely deserves to go in there first ballot, best middle linebacker ever in the history of the game, bar none. He's the best middle linebacker ever looked through a face mask.
Keith Washington joining us here, former Baltimore Raven, went on to play a couple years with the Broncos and with Michael Strahan with the Giants, came in with the Vikings, a cup of coffee with the Lions as well in '96, but 4 years with the Ravens. And it's funny, I saw you and you saw me, and we're standing there in front of this virtual reality thing my kid was doing, and in front of a Monday Night Football thing. I think the Super Bowl rings are right behind us as well. And the first thing I thought was, I just saw you block those kicks on the bus. We showed that, and I said, you blocked a kick in the game. It's been 18 years. You're like, nah, man, I blocked 2 of them. and I think, of your lore, right, and Anthony Mitchell, and I saw Mitch last year. They did a Ravens reunion here last September, and I saw him, had dinner with him as well. The cast of characters that we would talk about with Rod Woodson, Ray Lewis, Shannon Sharp, Trent Dilfer was running around out there. Brian Billick is our partner here. John Ogden, you know what I mean?
Hey, all of those guys you just mentioned, Ness.
Yeah.
All of those guys you just mentioned, I was with every last one of those guys this weekend.
And you haven't seen most of them in 15 years either, right?
At all. So
it must have really been something for you to be running into those guys at the high school reunion without realizing you were attending the high school reunion, right?
Yeah, it was. Shannon Sharp. I love Shannon Sharp. We ran into each other at Ray's party, and we talked about 30 minutes, and I really enjoyed Shannon. I saw Coach Billick there, and Coach Billick was happy to see me, and he told me anything he can do, you know. So we really had a good time, and I really was I was taken back. And I was very appreciative of the time that I had, and I knew that the time I had in Baltimore, that's what allowed me to be there that night, and I'm very appreciative for that.
Keith Washington joining us here. He is out on Instagram where he primarily shows fish. That's primarily what he does. He is in semi-retirement, living a good life down in Dallas, Texas, and I bumped into him randomly in Canton, Ohio, whatever. Hey, man, you know, these Raven reunions are going to keep going on, right? I mean, we're going to have Ed Reed. Sizzle looks like he's going to be a part of it. And, you know, I think for the magic of you having that ring all these years later and what the Ravens do to bring players back and stuff like that, we want to see you back in Baltimore sometime soon. I know you haven't been back, but I think the next time that Matt Stover and Kyle Richardson put something together with the Super Bowl 35 gang, it would be great to get you back into Baltimore and see everybody. Listen,
Ness, I'm holding you responsible for this, Ness.
I'm the glue.
If they are pitching pennies in Baltimore, if you let me know, I'll be there.
You're on a plane.
I want to play.
Well, you know what? You can fish here, too, you know. We have water here.
Ness, you do know I used to fish there, right?
Well, I'm going to go fishing with you here. I'm not even a fisherman, but you're so passionate about it. You and Jared Johnson are the passionate guys about fishing that I know from the football days. I want to go fishing with a passionate fisherman. Now, you know, all I'm going to do is do play-by-play and drink beer. You know, I mean, don't expect me to do any. I mean, I'll fry the fish or something when you get them off. I'll cook the fish, but you know, I'll watch you guys fish. I'll watch the art of it. You know.
Okay, that's all you need to do, because you're not gonna touch my rod and reel.
I'm getting all tangled up. See you later, Keith. I'll see you soon. All right.
All right, man. Just keep in touch, man.
I'll bring Coach Harbaugh with us too. You'll know that we look a lot different.
That's right. And hey, in City of Baltimore, I love you to death.
Appreciate you, Keith. Be well, man.
All right, Ness.
Big Keith Washington checking in from Dallas. Still looks like $1 million. Still looks like he could get out there and get after the quarterback a little bit. He's out on Instagram, and I put some pictures up. He shared just incredible pictures from his seat down in front out on his Facebook as well. So randomly ran into Big Keith Washington, helped us, I don't want to say single-handedly because Ray had a little hand in it, as did Anthony Mitchell, as did Al Del Greco. He was the kryptonite for Al Del Greco. I hadn't heard the name Al Del Greco in 17 years either. Big Keith Washington joining us there. You can find that out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world, including Dallas, where Keith is. You can listen to the show, watch the show out on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. The morning newspaper delivers to your email inbox each and every morning at 7 a.m. It's all brought to you by our friends at Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com, where it's still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life, guaranteed. And there's one right around the corner from you. Also, the Maryland Jockey Club and our friends at Laurel, where they're racing this weekend. The Maryland Million is October 20th. Circle that date on the calendar. I'll be 50 years old by then. Our Nashville trip is still open under the Road Trips tab. I got a handful of seats. Need some activity on that the next couple weeks. You want to go to Nashville and celebrate my 50th birthday. We're going into Nashville. We've got a tour of the Jack Daniels distillery on Monday. That'll be the first day of the second half century of the century. Yes. October 14th, 1968, for better or worse. There were riots going on in Detroit. I'm learning all about the summer of 68, reading about it in the summer of 18. I am Nestor. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube with Big Keith Washington. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.